Good morning, everyone. I wanted to do a follow-up on my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma plants. I did a video a while back kind of questioning whether I had two of the same plant, and I thought maybe today would be a nice time to show you what they look like now and talk about what we know now I have. And if you're interested in that, just keep watching. So I think you can see it's kind of obvious that this is in fact a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. This one is a tissue culture plant. I don't know what this weird stickiness is. They do release little droplets of water. Usually it's after they've been watered. That's something that a lot of philodendron do too. So something you want to think about when you're choosing a surface. Like this is actually a table that's really special to me. It was a gift my husband gave me when we moved into our first home. It was handcrafted and I love it. So I try to watch and make sure after this has been watered. Sometimes I don't even leave it on the table, but that was kind of an off topic. The question was this a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, or at the time I was thinking maybe it was like the Epipremnum pinnatum that was just more mature, because Cebu blue pothos, I guess is what you would call it, most people would call it. It had a different color when I compared it to my not tissue culture. I guess you would just call it a stem cutting, a node cutting or something like that. And the leaves still are different from each other. I mean, they still have that beautiful Rhaphidophora shape, and I love them, but their growing habits are completely different from one another, as you'll see when I show you the other one. This one, even though it has good support with these 3 poles, the leaves have gotten, and this is way above my head, and by the way, I stand 5'9", and I have my hand stretched up as high as it'll go. These leaves have gotten very juvenile. And on that same stem, we have not juvenile, we have the beautiful cuts, the fenestrations, whatever you want to call them. So I don't know if it's just because that's where it left the pole and now it's just free form doing its thing. This is obviously a very healthy grower. It is multiple different stems coming up, and some of that is because like this one was a stem cutting that I took. When it started kind of being stretched, I had it in a north-facing window that wasn't enough light for this plant. I mean, it still grew, but I didn't like the internodal spacing. It was just too long. So I took a top cutting, and I think this is also, that wasn't even a top cutting, that was just like a mid cutting, but it's doing fine. And excuse me, we do have strange discoloration on some of the bottom leaves. But that has been that way for, I'm gonna say, more than 6 months. So I don't see them, they're not even wanting to like fall off, go yellow. They're just not as vibrant green as the other leaves. So if you know what that is, I'd love to hear from you because I don't know what that is. So anyway, this is the tissue culture cutting. I got this from where? Pistol's Nursery. I got this one from Pistol's Nursery. I think I didn't want to tell that in the last video just because I wasn't trying to call anybody out in case that this actually wasn't a Rhaphidophora, but it truly is, and I'm very happy with it. And that's something else that I did want to address, because a lot of times people feel like really strongly about one plant or the other. And my feelings are they are both beautiful plants. They're both excellent house plants. Neither one are great shippers. I think maybe this one might be a better shipper than the actual stem cutting version. Those ones, I have had many, and boy, I lost quite a few just trying to keep them alive after they had a rough time shipping. They just really declined quickly. So that's something to keep in mind if you are in a place where you can't get one from an actual nursery. maybe you just consider just trying for the tissue culture. And honestly, I don't even know if growers are sharing that information with people or if they're just not even saying which of the two types of plant that you're getting. This is my other Rhaphidophora. This is a non-tissue culture version, and you can see, I mean, it's beautiful. The leaves are fully mature, and this is the first one I've had that's like monstera leaf sized. The other ones, as you can see, are kind of a lot smaller, and but there's not many. This plant is extremely, extremely slow growing, or has been for me. I can say that with absolute certainty. I mean, this, well, you saw the other plant, but these leaves are gorgeous, and here's some of those drops of water that I was talking about. Here's a new leaf. So what happened is this one was coming along pretty nicely, and again, I still am not happy with the internodal spacing, and that was not because of bad lighting. This one has always been in the living room, which this is facing an east window. It's about, what is that, 4 feet away. And then it also has my IKEA cabinet here, which, oh, look at all my beautiful all white leaves. They're all dying to necrosis, poor babies. But anyway, so it's actually closer to an east facing window than the other one, and has the supplemental light from the IKEA cabinet, which I think may be why all of a sudden I had these big boy leaves, because wow. But yeah, that's it. We just have just a handful of leaves. They're beautiful, but that's it. And I did cut it. I'll show you right here. I did cut it, and that was because it was really, really making huge spaces in between the nodes. I didn't love that. It doesn't look full like the other plant does, but then this is only growing on one stem. So I do have 2 other leaves that are rooting right now in water. I tried rooting them just right down in this is pond from Lechuza. So that's that didn't work very well, but I didn't actually have the node placed down deep enough in the pond that it was even going to be helpful. So that was my fault. So now I've pulled them out, I've cut them from each other, and I have 2 of those nodes, each with a leaf, rooting in water. So if those do root up, then I'll be able to add them and start having more of a full plant, hopefully. But I can tell you, I mean, the evidence is here. I bought these plants at a very similar time, very close to each other, and these ones they just don't grow quickly, at least not now. So it did stop completely after I cut it. It was just like, okay, we're done here. And I'm talking like 5-6 months of nothing, no growing at all. It didn't throw any leaves, but it didn't grow. So I just kept watering it whenever it needed to be watered, and I didn't know what else to do. So the nice thing with these kind of self-watering pots is I know when it needs to be rewatered. And so I just didn't jump the gun and try to water it, even though sometimes it went for a really long time. But that was all I knew what to do. So this has the same kind of tripod supports, but it's not going to be coming to the top of its pole anytime soon. Well, maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe this will be one of those crazy plants that does all of its really great active growing in the wintertime, when all my other plants are shut down and looking sad. So I guess that's the best I can hope for at this point. Anyway, I hope that this was interesting for you to see I mean, man, I'm loving these leaves. But honestly, if somebody asked me which one of these plants is better, I can't give you an answer to that. They are both. I love the tissue culture. I love the stem cutting. They're all beautiful. So I'm sorry, I won't choose. If you try to make me, then we can't be friends. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure that you subscribe. And I did want to, I should have done this at the beginning, but I want to thank everybody who has been subscribing, because it's been a lot of people here recently. And so I welcome you to this channel. I invite you to be active in our comment section. Definitely follow me on Instagram. I'm much more active over there. I'm still not completely consistent, but I try. I really do. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll see you in our next video. Bye.